Hello students, very good morning. Today we will study Alfred Lord Tennyson's poem Tears, Idle Tears. This poem, Tears, Idle Tears, was published in 1847 in a volume of poetry titled The Princess. After years of struggling with poetry, Tennyson was awarded a government pension in 1845, which allowed him to apply himself to longer works. The Princess was intended to be a long examination of a contemporary controversy. And what was that controversy? The education of women and establishment of female colleges. The focus of the Princess shifted though while Tennyson was writing it, and it ended up giving more consideration to the roles of men and women in society, which the poet considered to be proving unnaturally toward each other. The Princess achieved popularity when the first edition sold out. New editions appeared year after year for decades following, but critics considered it a failure of Tennyson's imagination, a sign of his inability to maintain a subject throughout an extended work. The same critics, though, did praise specific poem that has appeared as part of the longer work in particular, and the name of poem was Tears, Idle Tears. This melancholic poem examines life from a perspective of life's end, with memories affecting the speaker in some ineffable way, contrary to common notion that equates death with sadness. Tennyson balances the sad part of the poem with sweetness, freshness, and love. Distant memories seem to be real to the speaker that the past has a life of its own, and the poem suggests that this is the source of sadness that we get from days that are no more. And okay, so let's come to the poem. This poem, come to this famous poem, Tears, Idle Tears. Now, I will read out first four lines and then I will try to explain these four lines. Tears, idle tears. I know not what they mean. Tears from depth of some divine despair rise in the heart and gather to the eyes. In looking on the happy autumn fields and thinking of the days that are no more. So, first, for these first stanza of five lines, this poem begins with the referring to tears that are idle tears, not a normal tear, idle tear. Not in the physical sense of motionless. These tears are not motionless. Of course, they have motion. That we usually use the word for. They do have actually they do have motion. They're moving from heart to eyes, but in broader sense, as we have seen that idle hair means useless, which creates nothing and causing nothing to happen. This could be that gives the poem especially the tragic mood. The speaker feels tears and it is very observant and clear in describing them, but there is nothing to be done about them. The poet says that though their meaning is unknown, the tear originates from a divine despair. Divine here implies a connection to goodliness, to forces beyond the physical world. So these tears, the tear originate from a divine despair and travel through the heart into the eyes. And the last two lines of this stanza describe the circumstances under which these tears rise. Therefore, there is a contradiction in the line 4 that helps support the idea of idleness in the tear. The reference to autumn field is clear enough, as autumn is a season of falling the leaves, etc. and a time when plants die, animals begin to migrate or hibernate, and this in itself would be appropriate for a discussion of despair and tears. But Tennyson adds the word happy, which cancels out that gloomy effect. Throughout this poem, he balances image of hope against image of depression. And so line fifth reference, the days that are no more, is not so obviously a negative reference as it may seem upon first reading. If the poet has meant to portray these memories as being offered to the poem's speaker, he could have strengthened the sense of hopelessness by using the description days past or days that has gone, which would emphasize the fact that they are lost instead of their simple lack of existence. So this is the meaning of first stanza. Now see the second stanza. Phrase as the first beam glittering on a soil, glittering on a shell that brings our fields up from the underworld, sad as the last with reddens or one that sinks with all we love below the words, so sad, so fresh, the days that are no more. Now these lines of second stanza referring the first word, the beam here reference in the line, uh, in the first line of this stanza is a sunbeam. The first one of sunrise, an image of newness and beginning of that has been opposite implication as the autumn field mentioned in the line number 4. That this dawn, this dance of being is hitting a ship's sail offer a sense of newness, especially when we find out in the next line that the ship is bringing fields. But then in the line number 7, the poem shows its contradictory nature again by saying that these friends are arriving from the underworld. Literally, this reference would have reference to the southern hemisphere noted on the Victorian era maps with upside down tire as the bottom of the globe. However, there is no way to deny that going back to Greek mythology and beyond the underworld has referred to the realm of the dead. The only way these friends could return from the underworld would be through memory. But poet infuses these memories with the life by connecting them to freshness of daybreak. So line 8 follows the mention of underworld with sadness, revering the sunrise imagery with the last sunrise imagery. The redness of this redness of the sky and then sinks like the same ship departing below the horizon. While the underworld reference in the line number 7 brought up the idea of memories of loved ones, line number 9 implies that the speaker is actually facing death. What else could have taken away not just specified loved one, but all we love? With no future, the speaker talks of exploring the present and the past equally as the same sort of business, using phrase and said to describe everything everything occurs of the sun's motion and days that are no more. Okay, now come to the third stanza of the poem. Sad and strange as the dark summer dawns, the earliest pipes of half-awakened birds, to dying ear when unto dying eyes, the casement slowly grows a glimmering square, so sad, so strange, the days that are no more. Now come to this stanza. This stanza expands upon the imagery of the stanza which come before it, but the relationship is brought out more clearly. Since the dawn has already been mentioned in line number 6 and the speaker's approaching death is implied in line number 9, this stanza takes the time to consider in detail with sadness the coming down would create in a dying person, and in the end relates that sadness to memory. Line number 11, repeats the contradiction of the line number 4. Four's happy autumn filled with dark summer dawns. Since both summer and dawn are associated with brightness, not to the darkness, the song or pipe of birds before sunrise, so early that the birds themselves are only half awakened, is a sound that is seldom heard. But as we have seen that dying ears are aware of the sounds precisely because they are dying and are absorbing worldly experience while they can. This is clearly the case with the dying eyes that focus on the window frame casement in the dark that and stay on its until the sunrise slowly makes it glimmer or glow. This is a sense of desperation of hunger implied in the way of dying person seeks out even the slightest physical experience. And in the last line of this stanza, that memories of the dying person are given equal importance with the current experiences. So come to the next and last stanza. Dear as remembered kisses after death, and sweet as those by hopeless fancy faint on lips that are for others, deep as first love, and wide with all regret or death in life, the days that are no more. So come to the last stanza. In the line number 16, the three ideas that tears, idle tears, is connected with the memory, death, and implied by kisses. Uh, Life are brighter together. The next three lines use the imagery of romantic love, which has not played a part earlier in the poem. Even hopeless love, symbolized by the imaginary kisses given to someone who belongs to another and is thus unobtainable, is introduced in the poem as sweet. The poem goes on demonstrates just how deeply the days are no more extend into a dying person's existence by comparing those days to first love, which is presented as the deepest experience life has to offer. Tennyson attempts to convey how the loss of past can evoke will regret even as love remembered can. Last line compares that compares the days interminably lost to the death in life, rendering the poem's image of ideal year and dying hours relevant to those who have not experienced either love or death. So this was the poem, and I think you have got the idea about this poem. Uh, Tomorrow we will come with next poem. Till then, okay.